So be it, Jedi.
What's going on, guys? Back in another video. It's been over a year since I initially built this case and started collecting Hot Toys. So in this video, I'm going to share with you my collection, talk about the figures individually, my thoughts on them, and at the end, we'll discuss plans for the future. It goes without saying that this is not a large collection by any means. I've always been really vocal that I'm not a big game Hot Toys collector. I really just can't afford to roll with the big dogs in terms of, the amount of figures that I get in every year. But the ones that I do have, I try to really, buy ones that mean a lot to me. And as we'll get to later on, the plans for the future make me optimistic. So in the first little cubicle here, we have the Dark Side Anakin from 2018. Now, I paid out the wazoo for this figure. I overpaid for it. Definitely don't recommend. But I can't say I regret it. This, along with the two 501st flanking him, are my favorite three figures. If I only could keep three, these would be the ones I have. I still think this figure holds up. I know there's a lot of hype around the artisan figures, but I'm just not a fan of the rooted hair or the price associated with them. I've upgraded the tabards with genuine leather tabards, and this is a custom display base from Display Heroes on Etsy. As I mentioned before, this is a glorified statue. I really don't mess with it at all. The most I did was when I switched it to this base, I put his lightsaber in his hand, but it commands presence regardless, right? The two 501st flanking it, in my opinion, are priceless. I was sort of on the fence about buying two of the same figure, but I can't say I regret that either because I think they're essential. My favorite clone trooper design, depicting the most tragic and my favorite scene from Revenge of the Sith. Right next to that, we have Darth Maul from the Phantom Menace 2.0 and Darth Sidious from the Clone Wars. When this Darth Maul was originally announced, I had the Clone Wars Maul, and I thought, well, I don't need it. I like the Clone Wars Maul better. Well, I slowly realized that this is the best Darth Maul that you can buy in 1/6 scale. And I'm really glad that I didn't go after the original Phantom Menace Maul, because then I had to sell it to buy this. So it all worked out in the end. I'm happy with it, and it is remarkable. Speaking of Darth Sidious from the Clone Wars, this was the first figure I ever seen announced when I first, learned about Hot Toys. So for the longest time, it was my most anticipated figure. Well, since then, we've had two more Darth Sidious announcements, and I'm still sticking with this one. The only one I would upgrade this one for is if they essentially just dressed him in his all-black Sith robes, whether that had the disfigured portrait or just the normal one he's wearing. I don't think that would matter, but I'm just not big on selling something that I have for something that is, very similar, just to take a loss on what I already have. So I'm happy with it. Happy with this little cubicle here. Moving down, we have Padawan Anakin and Padme from Attack of the Clones. I know everybody hates Attack of the Clones. They say it's the worst prequel, but if I'm being honest, I like it better than the Phantom Menace. This Anakin is remarkable. I'd say it's one of the best head sculpts of Hayden Christensen on the market. And of course, it's not his definitive look by any means. But I'm happy with it. And for the longest time, it was the best Anakin in my collection until I purchased this one. Padme is a great figure. The only one we have. And honestly, I can't really think of another Padme that would be better in figure format than this one. This is the movie in which she actually does something. I guess we could get her in like one of her robes or her elegant dresses, but what would you really do with it, right? This figure is slept on. If you futz the eyes, the likeness kind of comes to life. And I've really had her in this pose for almost the entire duration that I've owned her, because I think it looks very human-like, very lifelike. These two figures are great. I'm not sure if I'm going to get the Attack of the Clones Obi-Wan. As you can see next, I have the Clone Wars Obi-Wan. We'll see if they update the portrait when it releases. And of course, we have Anakin and Obi-Wan from the Clone Wars. This Anakin was actually my first figure I ever bought. So it's been here for a while now, almost 2 years. And Obi-Wan, you can't have one without the other. This Obi-Wan likeness is really good if you have it in a certain way. Because they sculpted the mustache. It looks like his mouth is open and he has no lips. So from my perspective, as he is in the shelf, he looks really good. But if you don't have him in some sort of leaning forward or, pseudo-dynamic pose, it doesn't look good in my opinion. And of course the Anakin, I think that's the same exact portrait that they use with two Revenge of the Sith Anakins, but I don't think it looks very bad. A lot of people are saying the Clone Wars Anakin from the Ahsoka series is better. I still can't get on board with that. I just don't like the expression. And I think this aesthetic matches Obi-Wan, pretty good. Moving down, we have my custom Darth Vader. This is the Rogue One Darth Vader with a genuine leather aftermarket suit and a custom display base from Display Heroes on Etsy. I originally owned the DX28 Darth Vader from the Kenobi series, but don't get me wrong, it's not a bad figure, but I was just nervous about the pleather. So after some back and forth, I said, screw it, and I sold it, bought an older Rogue One Vader, put the custom leather suit on it, and this is the final result. This is my definitive clean Vader. I don't think I'll ever be tempted to buy another Darth Vader, even now that they're using nylon. I'm really happy with it. I think it looks good. I think the body of the Rogue One Vader, which is the same as the DX27, DX28 Vader, is really good. I don't like the big, bulky OT body. And the same can be said about this that is said for my dark side Anakin. It's a glorified statue, but it's Vader. Of course, he has presence. The only thing I'm on the fence about is he needs some troopers flanking him, and I don't know if I want to buy stormtroopers or get another clean Phase 1, Phase 2 clone trooper. If I was to buy stormtroopers, it'd have to be the Rogue One or the A New Hope mold. I can't deal with the Return of the Jedi stormtroopers, and the A New Hope troopers are like MMS 256 or something, so they're like 7-8 years old at this point. Still on the fence about what I'm going to do, but he definitely needs some troopers to flank him. Moving on to my newest acquisition, this is the Feral Predator from the movie Prey. Very expensive piece. A piece that honestly I can't say I would recommend if you're not a diehard Predator fan, which, to be honest, I'm not a diehard Predator fan, but I do think it is the best Predator the Hot Toys has made, just due to the fact that it has a seamless neck, seamless torso. It has honestly pretty impressive movement in the shoulders. If you get some butterfly, ratcheted hips, ratcheted knees, ratcheted elbows, it's sturdy, but it's just expensive, man. I mean, this thing was almost $500 out the door from Sideshow. It's a tough pill to swallow for any figure, let alone what people would say is not the definitive Predator. But that being said, I'm happy with it. It is, look at the shelf presence. It is pretty awesome. And he's a tall boy. I got him crouched down, and he's still almost touching the top, over 14 inches. Looking forward to getting the Scorch Xenomorph from Alien Romulus. I'll be displaying these two together. But I also have the Jungle Hunter 2.0 on pre-order, so I hope they update that as well. If that comes in and it's updated and it's a lot better than the solicitation, will I keep this? I don't know. I know I won't sell it for a loss. But I'm a Predator fan, an Alien fan, and I'm happy to have it in my collection. And down here we have one of the last first figures I bought. This is Captain Rex from the Clone Wars. I do still think this is superior than the Ahsoka version. Of course, the armor, the shade of blue, matches all the other 501st clone troopers we got. And you get the swap out portrait. Not a bad figure, one I see going for very cheap. And I think we all agree that Captain Rex is probably the best and most iconic clone trooper in the Star Wars franchise. Next to Rex, we have just your standard shiny Phase 2 clone. These guys are going for way more than I think they're worth in the secondary market, but I was able to get this for about retail when I bought it. Now, if I could find another one for the price that I paid for this one, I'd be all over it. But that's really what's stopping me from getting another one, is I'm not paying $300+ for a clone trooper that isn't, I just don't think it's worth it, especially being as it'd be my second. I love this figure. I love the clean clone armor. And as I mentioned with Vader, I'm really on the fence about getting another one of these, putting it behind Vader, and just having Vader, right after, the fall of the Galactic Republic, flanked with some clones. But if I don't do that and I do get Stormtroopers, I'll just swap his Phase 1 helmet on and put him with Anakin and Padme. I'm still waiting on my Airborne Trooper and the Cody 1.5, whatever you want to call it, to ship from Sideshow. Well, I guess to arrive at Sideshow from Hong Kong and then ship to me. Don't know what the holdup is, but it's a first world problem, right? I'll be putting Cody with Rex, and the reason that I bought that Cody is I've just been on the fence about buying the older one. I've heard too many horror stories about broken shoulders, broken elbows, to risk buying it on the secondary market, and in case something happens, then what, And of course, the Airborne Trooper is honestly one of the coolest troopers in the prequels, so looking forward to those, and they'll be displaying somewhere down here for the time being. I've been collecting Hot Toys for about 2 years now. And I guess you'd expect someone to be collecting that long to have a lot more figures, but I've owned other figures and I ended up selling them just because if I get tired of something, then the last thing I want is for it to still be in my collection. Most of all these figures are ones that truly mean a lot to me. And the ones that don't, I just can't justify selling right now. Alright, so now we'll discuss the plans for the future. As you may know, this is just my cheap, Wayfair bookshelf that I sometimes use as a backdrop for some videos. And the plan within the next year, or however long, I'm not really in a giant hurry, is to just get rid of this whole thing and build a custom bookshelf that will accommodate more figures and my books, all while getting rid of any glass or any acrylic. So the plan is to have a shelf that is, I guess you could say, one little partition wider than this, maybe some more. It's not going to be wall to wall, but it's going to be wider than this. And the plan is to have a narrow bookshelf on the left, a narrow bookshelf on the right, and space that is double that of one individual bookshelf in the center for figures. Now I would like to have floor to ceiling, which these ceilings are like 8 foot tall. So that'd give me ample room. I mean, we're talking 5 to 6 shelves, roughly about 4 feet wide for figures. And the whole reasoning behind that is we have a 3-bedroom home. One is obviously our bedroom. The other one is my wife's office. The third is for future child. So I can't take one of the bedrooms. And the Mills Bow, the glass display case, isn't going to cut it forever. So in doing this, I'll have more room and it'll be built in, nailed to the wall. And the little caveat, the little icing on top that I think is going to be the perfect solution to everything is I plan to have doors on this side and this side that fold 180 degrees so that when I want to display my figures, I fold them over, close over the bookshelf, display the figures, run a light rig and all that. And then when the company comes over or it's time for bed or whatever, fold them back over, close the figures up. Nobody knows the difference. And it's cool because me and my wife, both agreed on this. And if you're married, you have to accommodate your spouse's wishes. You can't just go full bore, have figures all over the house because, you gotta be fair. It's her house too. But we're both on board with this, and I think it's a pretty good plan. So yet to speak to our carpenter about it, but I'm optimistic. And yeah, just to have something to look forward to with the new display. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. As always, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, see you in the next one.
I'm sorry, sir. It's time for you to leave.